Hi and welcome back to the Polymer Clay channel. So today I'm going to show you a new technique. Well, it's not a new technique as such, but it's a technique that I've not seen any other YouTuber or someone that works with polymer clay use before. Now this is all to do with paper. Now I've seen people trace with paper and I've done that before, and there's some people that do prints from paper. Now I haven't actually mastered that part. I did try off camera and it didn't work out. But I came up with something else while I was doing this and I thought, oh, I've really got to show this. So this tutorial is about what you can do with paper and polymer clay. So here we go. Thanks for watching the tutorial. So this is the show and tell part where I go into a bit more detail of what I think about the technique and any hints and tips that I think about while I'm actually making it, and things to avoid and things to definitely do. So that's why I do this part. So first of all, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I love all the support that I get. Please leave me a comment. Let me know in the comment what is your favourite design out of all of these that I've made today. So if you're interested in using the prints that I used on the jar, I do have the files, so I can send them directly to you, and they're completely free, no charge. You just got to email me and ask for them. So the email you can send them to is Gail Jones, polymerclaychannel@gmail.com, and I'll send them to you. This way you can use exactly what I've used for the tutorial today. Now, you are going to have to cut them out, and it does take forever, and you are going to need a tiny pair of scissors. Well, these aren't tiny, but this kind of sharpness, you're going to need that, because if you don't, you won't get the exact detail, and because you're using a complete print, so you're not going to be able to cover it up or anything like that, and cut them out nice and carefully. But that aside, they're yours if you'd like them. So this is the show and tell part. Apart from that ramble, I'm going to show you the ones that I made in roughly the sort of order that I made them in. So these were originally kind of like a test piece, if you like. So I was going to make these into magnets, and I'm going to show you these all at once because, to be honest with you, that wasn't the main feature. But I wanted to try them out on camera on the basis that it sort of got me used to doing it, and it gave me an idea of how thick I wanted the liquid clay to be and whether they would actually survive in the oven. So I can confirm that they do survive in the oven, but with this one, you may not see it on camera, but it's bent a little bit, so it didn't stay flat. So with that, I thought when I do the jar, I'm going to need to have that on first and then put the polymer clay that's liquid over the top. So that was the first thing I learned. But first of all, what I'm going to do is show these to you. So this is the first one, and I just absolutely love this design. Now, I could make it a little bit bigger, I think, on the program that I used, which was Canva. But I didn't want to, because this was kind of a test piece, and I thought, well, what else could I do with it? So I put a kind of like a board around it, and that was really as simple as that. Now it's just got a very thin layer of liquid clay on it, and that is it. And I just put it in the oven. I didn't cover it up, I didn't tent it or anything like that. I just made it as it is. Now this one was also, as you can see, it's got a little bit of a shine to it. It went on a little bit thicker, but it didn't matter. So with polymer clay that's liquid, you kind of have to watch how thick you put it on, because if you put it on too thick on top of paper, so it could look a bit frosty, and then it wouldn't look as clear underneath, because obviously it's just paper. So you do have to watch what sort of thickness of the liquid clay you're going to put on there, because if you put too much on there, it's going to go a bit cloudy and you won't see the detail through it as well. So you put as minimal amount of liquid clay on it that would cover the paper. So realistically, what you're looking to do is protect the paper so it bakes and then goes hard, which is exactly what I did. So this one's a bit of a close-up here, just so you can get a look. I put the little dots in as I normally do. I always put a dot in somewhere or other, put some at the bottom here, and then a couple of little lines in the middle there, and it's just quite nice, but basic, and I wanted to do something a bit more than that. So I thought, well, what else can I do? And then I thought, well, let's go with a different design. Now this again is a printout, and then it's got a border on it. That's literally all it is. And then it's got polymer clay over the top, and again, the polymer clay protects the paper, and then you can bake it. The only thing I added with this one that was a little bit different was some gilding wax. And this is the, I don't know if you can see that, but this is the gilding wax that I used. It's actually really good. And let me just see if I can get it the right way around. All it says is just gilding wax, and then the rest of it's in French, so unfortunately I can't read it very well. But this stuff is amazing, and I've used the most tiniest amount of it. So good. And that is the sort of design that I've got there. Now for this sort of design, if you want to highlight with gilding wax, you can do it. It dries completely, no transfer whatsoever. It's really good, but you'll need a really fine paintbrush, particularly a paintbrush that's not been used for anything else. And when I tried to paint this, I did have a bit of an issue with that, because the paintbrush was a bit stiff and wasn't great, to be honest with you. But to me, it was a trial and error, and that's what I was doing, so I kind of allowed for that. This was an error, but it's an error that turned out quite pretty. So that's that one. And then I thought, well, what else can I do? And I come up with this sort of swirly design. And I saw that on the Canva software and I thought, oh, that looks quite pretty. But when you print it out, it looks really weird. And yeah, it just didn't work. It was supposed to be kind of like a painted sort of look. But when I put the background on it and then the border, it's all right, but it's weird. I mean, it sort of half looks like a G and then a C, and I don't know. I mean, it's all right for abstract, but when people look at it, they're like, oh, well, what is it? Well, there isn't really what it is. It's just a pretty pattern. Now, what I did do with this one is I kind of coordinated the colours along. So yellow's here, green's there, and sort of a more pinky colour at the top there. Just sort of add a little bit of extra sort of design to it, I suppose. And then I don't know what that is at this point at the top. I don't know what that is. It just happened. And I thought, well, let's make it sharp. And that was kind of how it turned out. So those were my 4 test pieces. I wanted to see a couple of things. I wanted to see whether the paper survived, what thickness of polymer clay I needed on the top of the paper to make it so that it wasn't cloudy and things like that. And they all turned out really good. The only thing I'll say, like I mentioned, is that once it goes on, it has a tendency to lift it. So I put the polymer clay on, the liquid one, and then baked it all at once. Now, realistically, it needed something to hold it down. I wasn't sure how I was going to do that. And I thought I could stick the whole thing to the tile and do it like that. But it popped up in the oven a little bit before I had a chance to rescue it. So that's why I do the jar the way I do. Now, I've mentioned the jar, so let's move on to the main thing. So this was after a little bit of trial and error. This was what I come up with. Oh, I love this. So I'm going to turn this all the way round first so you can get a good look. You'll notice it's also shiny, and that's because I've glossed it. For once, I've glossed it. I think I've filmed some of it. You won't want to see all of it because it's just literally gloss and boring, but I will leave some of it in. But here we go, all the way round. So these are all paper. And stuck on individually, as you saw by the tutorial, and then covered afterwards with liquid polymer clay. And the reason why you do it that way is because you have to make sure that the paper is really stuck down first. Now, you need a good thickness of black clay on this, and the reason for that is because you want the paper to actually kind of go into the clay a little bit. So push it in well, and then that way it sticks to the polymer clay, and then you haven't got to worry about it sort of, you know, rolling up or anything like that. So that's the first tip. But I'm just going to go all the way round, and then you can see how glossy this is. Now, I know that it's sort of catching the light here, and for once catching the light isn't exactly what I want it to do, but it's doing its job because it's protecting all of the paper in this. Now, I went for these 3 designs. Is there 3? 1, 2, yeah, 3 designs, had to check. So the butterfly, and then the flower here, and then there's a tinier flower, this one here. And these, all of the ones that I can send you because I've got the files for them. So if you're interested in doing exactly this, I can send that to you, not a problem. So yeah, these are really, really great. And I absolutely love the way it looked. Now I thought, great. So I put the paper on and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna put the liquid polymer clay on in a minute. What else can I do? And I thought, well, what else am I going to do? So I got out the mica powder and the glitter. I'm on the roll now, I think, with mica powder and glitter. And I thought, yeah, I'm just gonna have it so that it sort of blends a little bit. So you'll see all the way around the butterfly where it's purple on the paper. I sort of had a little bit of mica powder on the outside there, same with the top and all the way round. And I wanted it to look part of the actual jar. So, and it really, really does. It looks absolutely, it looks like it's supposed to be there, if that makes sense. It doesn't look like paper that's stuck to polymer clay. It's turned it into complete transformation. So this is great sort of project. If you want to do this, and you can't make things out of polymer clay, or you don't feel as confident in doing that sort of thing, and it's just so easy because all you've got to do is cut out some paper and all of a sudden you've come up with something that looks absolutely amazing and also completely original. So with each one, as you saw from the tutorial, I stuck them on and then did the mica powder around the outside, and then of course I got out the glitter and then just put the coordinating glitter colours all the way round. Now, I didn't really know what I was doing when I was making the dots in this. I didn't think about it. I was just, you know, covering up all the sort of the spare areas. And then I thought, oh, I know what I can do. So I put these little gems in. Now I was very, very tempted to put turquoise in them, or blue, or whatever you want to call it. And I thought, no, I'm doing something different. So that's exactly what I did. And I put these really nice sort of colours in here. They're sort of an orangey colour. And they, to me, they go with the flowers here. And they look really, really nice. I do hope that light isn't really sort of getting in the way of the actual design, because I can't see it too well on camera. But let me just take you really close in so you can get a good look. As you can see, the design completely sticks down, doesn't stick up in anywhere, and it's, once you've got it completely covered in liquid clay, the design is on it and it's done. So I'd like to confidently say that using paper with polymer clay works really well, but definitely use the test pieces. So cut yourself out some squares first of any sort of pattern that you like, and you could even do this with magazines. You could cut something out of a magazine just to test it, pop it on some clay, doesn't matter what colour, cover it in liquid clay and see what happens. Bake it on a very low temperature. So I baked this at 75 degrees Celsius or 167 degrees Fahrenheit, and that way it safeguards the paper, safeguards the fact that it's not going to burn in the oven or anything like that, and it comes out really good. But you do have to make sure that once you've taken it out of the oven, you have to let it cool down completely, because if you don't, you're going to think, oh, that's not baked properly, and put it in again. So once you take it out, give it time to cool down, and if it isn't baked, you can rebake it. It's not a problem at all. So for the ending, this is how you use paper and polymer clay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Watch something while you do it. And I'm rambling. I'm just rambling with liquid column. So I come up with I found that there has a tendency to. So this was my kind of test piece. So well, yeah. So this was a real trial, and I thought, can I do it? Should I? And I thought, can I do it? Should I do it? And I thought, no, shut up. Bah. So I'm not going to talk too much for this part. I want to save that till the end so I can give a good chat. So I'm not going to talk too much on this part here. I'm going to tell you, no, oh my God, I've lost it, haven't I? I've lost it.